our next comic is somebody who is very important to Stepford Rejects and Knox Comedy in general. In fact, they have an art table set up. They are also a very talented artist. And for some reason, they hang out with me. I don't know, I don't get it, but whatever, I'm the work wife, it's fine. Please welcome to the stage, Laura Z.
So my name's Laura Z, but you can call me Captain AFAB. That's what you get when you cross an English major and a comic. Moby Dick jokes. Instead of the great white whale, I'm going after the straight white male. There's maybe a couple of them somewhere. I don't think so. So AFAB is for fabulous, of course. It also means assigned female at birth. I'm non-binary, so I prefer uterine American. That sounds like someone with rights. Actually, I identify as whatever pisses off the tidy whiteys this week. What you see is what you get, folks. Welcome to the angry blue-haired feminist portion of the show. The good news for me is I check so many woke boxes that if you guys don't laugh, this still counts as a TED Talk. So I'm non-binary. I use they, them pronouns. If you have a hard time using they, them as a singular, just think about it as me and the chip on my shoulder. I tell that joke and my demons go, hey, what about us? Being non-binary is great. I can have a hot rack and a dad bod at the same time. Yeah. If you're struggling with non-binary, that's okay. Just think about it like this. Inside me are two genders and both of them are queer. On a good day, I'm just three genders in a trench coat. Why be male or female when you can be a third, more confusing thing? I know who I am. My gender is your problem now. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. I actually moved to Maryville about 5 years ago. Before that, I lived in Western North Carolina for a long time. As you can probably tell, I am not from Western North Carolina. My family moved there from South Florida when I was 15 years old. It was really hard moving to a foreign country where I didn't speak the language. Yeah, you guys are laughing. It took me 3 years to learn redneck as a second language. One time I had a can of Sprite and someone says, do you want a glass to put it in? Yes, please. Do you want some ass? What? Do you want some ass? Excuse me? And she goes, I said ass, not ace. That's not helping. So I finally figured it out. You sit on your ace and you eat chocolate ice cream. There's a little roadside stand in that area with a sign that says, Rick's Shaved Ice. I love knowing that the locals pronounce that, Rick's Shaved Ass. Spent a little time in Maggie Valley, or as I call it, the Valley of the Shadow of Meth. Yeah. As you can imagine, I am no stranger to drug abuse. I have done my share. I have to say though, the absolute worst drug I've ever done, with the most disastrous life choices, is dick. Dick is a gateway drug. You can't spell addiction without a dick. It's right there. I actually moved here because I was homeless, and my very best friends took me in like a straight human. Yeah, they fostered me, got me up to date on all my shots, gave me a place to stay until I found my forever home. I'm a rescue, you guys. It's a good thing too, because I did not cut it as an outdoor cat. No, I am an indoor cat, a very spoiled indoor cat. My human feeds me and gives me space to make art. And then every once in a while, I climb up in her lap and show her my butthole. She likes it when I make biscuits. So I'm bisexual, but men are grounded. They know what they did. Of course, I have zero game. I try to flirt, and nice guys all turn into Ralph Wiggum from The Simpsons. I'm in danger! Don't get me wrong, I love men. I just don't think it's ethical for me to keep one as a pet. I don't have time to domesticate one. Besides, I'm going to want to tie him up in the backyard with a bag of chow. I'm going to want him crate trained, and that's not fair. Not without a safe word anyway. I wouldn't want PETA getting involved. That's People for the Ethical Treatment of Assholes. Because I have a type. What, you're a nice boy from a good family? Come back with warrants. Yeah. Yeah, I'll give you a little, I don't know whether I was dating or working my way through the DSM-5. I'll give you a little example. A few years ago, I went to go visit an old boyfriend I hadn't seen in about 20 years. And I was sort of teasing, and I called him a psychopath. I really do have a type. And he corrected me. He's a sociopath. Oh, good. One more, and I fill out my punch card. He bruised my cervix and my soul. My dating history is like Ho White and the 7 Emotional Dwarves. We got gropey, slappy, drunky, junky, creepy, rapey, and jock. Maybe I should call Jock. I never got the whole concept of dating up. No, I dated like it was a scholarship program. Melons for felons. I gave away so much charity, I ought to make my pussy a 501c3. Get a tax credit or something. So yeah, it took a lot for me to put men on the no-fly list, I'm telling you. Because I am a huge fan of Dick. So now I keep one in a Crown Royal bag. He's big and purple, and his name is Inigo Montoya. I told my father, prepare to come. I have to do him left-handed. It's the only way I can be satisfied. I use my right, it's over too quickly. Actually, I decided that Inigo Montoya is a bit much, so I turned it into a prop, and I wrote, "This machine kills incels" on it. You can tell that Inigo Montoya is still in the business of revenge. That bit did not go as well as I thought it was going to. I thought it was going to be hilarious to sword fight with it. Turns out when you whip out a giant dildo on stage, people expect a different kind of show. Basically, I got upstaged by my own dick. So I have a question. When did all the straight guys become doms? What happened? Back in my day, we just called that being a chauvinist. I met this one guy, he's like, "I'm a dom. Now park behind the garage so my parents don't see you." So dominant. So he takes me into the worst trailer I've ever seen in my life. It's the dead of winter and there's no floor. I can see the ground. And he says, "You look disappointed. Is it because of this trailer or is it because I'm short and fat?" And I said, "Keep going." Who's your dom now? I'm really more of a combinatrix. Like, I don't look very good in leather and I don't want to hurt anyone, but I can do insult comedy. Maybe you want a socialist in the streets and a fascist in the sheets. So the best thing I ever did was give up on bad boys and find a good girl. Yeah, I've gone strictly vegetarian. I found a really good girl too, a librarian. She is still a redhead though. She warned me early on that she has a little bit of a problem with road rage. So the first time somebody cuts her off, I'm bracing myself. Oh boy, here it comes. And she goes, "What are you doing, friend?" I told you I was a psycho magnet. Being a lesbian in my 40s feels like finding a cheat code to life. My fiance and I are both bisexual, which is great because we know how to handle disappointment. It's important in any relationship. So yeah, this is actually the first great relationship I've had with a woman, even though I've been out as bi for a very long time. A lot of this is because I lived in a lot of small towns where all the lesbians come in pairs. It can be really hard to find free-range lesbians in a small town. What you can find are straight girls who are curious about a bisexual threesome. Now, after this happens, it goes one of two ways. Either she stops recognizing me in public, or she really, really recognizes me in public. There's no middle ground here. I did it when I thought I was straight. It's the circle of lesbians. So you want to hear a joke about threesomes? You know what I call a threesome with two women? Dinner and a show. You know what I call a threesome with two men? Work. Speaking of work, I have a really hard job. I work in a psych ward for children. It's not so bad. It's like a starter psych ward. Like if Play School had a My First Looney Bin playset. It's like a really bad summer camp. It's bummer camp. It gets a little rough sometimes though. A couple of weeks ago I kept making kids cry. I mean, they're suicidal, so it's not like it's hard. You know, mostly I teach kids coping skills and help kind of shift perspectives a little bit, you know, see things in a new light. You know, none of us can control all the stupid bullshit that happens to us, but we can control our outlook and our attitude. I have to do it all the time myself, you know, like, I don't have to make children cry. I get to make children cry. Hashtag blessed. It is all about gratitude, you guys. I'm kidding, I got fired for making the wrong kid cry. I'm really glad I got the experience of working in a psych ward though, because every time I'm in one, I get mistaken for staff. So, I wasn't always in the business of making children cry. I used to work in an abortion clinic. Yeah, the Supreme Court put an end to that, and I thought, why not give comedy a shot? I love abortion jokes. They combine two of my favorite things, bodily autonomy and shit I shouldn't joke about. That joke used to be funny. It is against the law to go unfuck yourself in the state of Tennessee. Never thought I'd be so glad to be gay and menopausal, but here we are. It's my time to shine. I feel like working in an abortion clinic really prepared me for stand-up. Timing is everything, right? Plus I got a real taste for killing now. Why not kill it on stage? I still have to worry about bombing, but not as much. And I already know how to deal with hecklers. I bet none of you guys are going to call me God's menstrual rag and tell me I'm going to hell. I got called that by the pro-lifers. Really fun people. If you want to meet them, go to a school board meeting. They're the ones trying to ban all the sex ed books. You know why they're called pro-lifers? Because they think sex should come with a life sentence, but only for women. Gotta hand it to them though. God's menstrual rag would be a great name for my feminist punk band. It's so edgy and so woke. It means God is on her period. I think that's about as good an explanation as we're gonna get, you guys. So yeah, it's impossible to talk about working in a women's clinic without talking about the protesters and having to walk past them every morning to go to work. It felt a little bit like that scene in Looney Tunes where the sheepdog and the wolf clock in at the same time and they're like, morning George, morning Fred, you're going to hell Fred. Thank you George, I know. Usually it's a bunch of dudes, but sometimes it's fun for the whole family to scream at women outside the doctor's office. And there's sad, mute little girls in ugly dresses and little boys strutting around in cowboy hats. I'm telling you, the fashion choices alone are a good reason not to give these people a baby. Plus, you know, they're going to name that baby Mordecai. No one has to name a baby Mordecai, but they've used up all the good Bible names on their 12 other children. Nahum, go get your brother, Habakkuk. Somebody asked them one day how they felt about slavery. They approve of biblical slavery. Whatever that means. I wonder how many goats he wants for his daughters. Well, we've talked about the elephant in the womb. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Donald goddamn. You know what? Let's all just take a really deep breath. Deep breath in. And let's all scream together, shall we? Deep breath on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. There, doesn't that feel better? Doesn't that feel better? I am tired of saying his name. So I call him Comb-Over Caligula. Caligula was a notoriously depraved late-stage Roman emperor, so the parallels are pretty obvious. One's a spoiled petty tyrant with tertiary syphilis, and the other one is Caligula. The nickname of the real Caligula works too. You just change it from little boots to little gloves. So I have a theory, and he's possessed by the ghost of Andy Kaufman. Andy Kaufman was a comic who was notorious for taking it a little bit too far. The beauty of this theory is you cannot tell me that I'm wrong. You also cannot tell me that we don't have President Tony Clifton right now. I used to think that one day one day Andy would lift back the curtain and say, "Ah, I fooled you, and you can get back to loving each other." But now I think he's in too deep. I think he got in there and went, "Oh shit, there's demons in here." He's in it till that last bucket of KFC. Poor Andy. The whole thing's kind of Shakespearean, really. You know, it would almost be a comedy, but it's, you know, he's not the grand villain either. You know, he's King Lear muttering in his bathrobe. He's not Iago. Stephen Miller is Iago. Wait, that makes Trump Othello. Are we still not doing blackface? Because that would be hilarious. Okay, orange face it is. All right, thank you guys. You've been great. A great audience. Thank you so much.